Hey guys, it's Callie, Big Sister MD. I'm a medical student from the States studying in Spain, currently on a gap year. Let's talk about Lyme disease. Now, a lot of you may have heard of Lyme disease because of Bella Hadid, Justin Bieber, celebrities like that have been public about their diagnosis of chronic Lyme. And today we're going to talk about the difference between chronic and acute Lyme, symptoms of Lyme disease, and what my symptoms have been. So, as a lot of you know, I took a gap year and I made a couple of videos explaining why, but it was mainly due to mental health reasons. It was something that was a very difficult choice for me. I felt like I was abandoning my career and I didn't really know what I needed to do, but I knew that I just couldn't keep going with medical school. I needed a break. I was super burnt out, super apathetic. I was not caring about the patients anymore, and I was just going to turn into the typical doctor that you see after you graduate. And I wanted to be different. I wanted to be inspirational, educational. I still want to be these things. And I just knew that the pathway to get there was not to continue and push through this burnout and end up just fried at the end of my career. So I talked to my secretary and decided that the best thing for me to do would be to do a gap year. And about 6 months into my gap year, I realized that I was having these really strange symptoms and that it just really didn't make any sense. Like, I have been in talk therapy for most of my life, I'm on medication, and it just felt like something should be working by now. Like, maybe there's something else that's wrong. Maybe we misdiagnosed what's currently happening, and there's just something deeper. I could just feel it. I just knew there was something else going on. So, fast forward a couple of months, I was talking to a doctor about some treatments, and the doctor was like, "Have you ever been bitten by a tick?" And it was like, yes, this makes so much sense. I grew up having symptoms that were very strange and undiagnosable. I was misdiagnosed several times with conversion disorder, and it was just a very strange upbringing. I started having anxiety attacks morning to night. There was no clear trigger. It just sort of happened. It just didn't make a lot of sense. My mom was beside herself and thought that there was something clearly physiological going on with me. She was ignored by all the doctors. And the thing that's really ironic to me is that I actually grew up in Connecticut, which is where Lyme was founded. I grew up 15 minutes away from Lyme, Connecticut. So it's really crazy to me that I went to Yale Hospital and nobody thought to test me for Lyme. But unfortunately, that's how things went. And it wasn't until this doctor, 15 years later, asked me if I had ever been bitten by a tick that things sort of came together. Now, this is where the controversy starts. A lot of people will tell you that Lyme disease is something that's very acute. It looks like a fever. It looks like a rash, a bullseye rash. It looks like monoarthritis. It looks like different things that we learned about in medical school. But what they don't tell you is that there are about, I don't even know how many other symptoms that can affect different parts of the body. There's neurological Lyme that can affect the central nervous system, that can affect your brain, that can cause swelling, that can cause symptoms that look like depression, anxiety, psychosis, schizophrenia, different things that can imitate neurological diseases, psychiatric diseases. There are things that can look like heart problems, kidney issues, liver issues. There's different things. Like Lyme will truly attack the entire system. And we've only been looking at arthritis. So it's not really fair to doctors and to medical students that we're not teaching this information in its totality, and therefore patients are getting snubbed and not getting diagnosed. That being said, I was still a little bit hesitant to accept this diagnosis because it didn't have any testing. So we went ahead and did some testing. And mind you, I remember very clearly being bitten by a tick, and it was on my back. So I wouldn't have been able to see a bullseye rash anyways. And that was about 14 years ago. And so I was like, how is it possible that I'm still infected after all this time? I've taken random antibiotics throughout the years for strep or for mono. How is it possible that I still am infected with this Lyme disease? But sure enough, the lab results came back, and I not only have one type of Lyme, but did you know that there are other types of Lyme that you can be affected with? I have two types of Lyme. And then the doctor explained that ticks, because they're not sterile animals, they're very dirty and they have other, well, I guess insects. I'm not really sure what a tick is. But anyways, because they're very dirty things, they can carry with them co-infections. So that can look like parasites, bacteria, viruses, stuff like that. And so we tested for other common co-infections, and I had 4 co-infections. That's a total of 6 different things that have been roaming around in my body. And funnily enough, 2 of them target the brain and the central nervous system specifically. And I do remember having, after I was in a car crash in 2018, I had a brain scan, and they did see some inflammation, but they thought that it was due to the car crash, so it was unclear. but it seems like I've been dealing with this the entire time. Now, this is where the controversy comes in. I have what's called chronic Lyme, which is something that is not really accepted and highly controversial because doctors and the FDA and the CDC only accept acute Lyme as something that is treatable or curable or actionable. But they see chronic Lyme as something that's inexistent, not enough proof, not enough studies have shown that chronic Lyme is a thing. However, the more research that I've done myself, the more documentaries that I've been watching, the more investigation that I've been doing, and just believing in my own symptoms and believing in my test results, I can tell you that chronic Lyme is a real thing, and it has been affecting me from the time that I was really little. So, that being said, what do you do? Is there a cure for Lyme? Yes, there is a cure for Lyme disease, and it's antibiotics. So we have to go down to the basic microbiology. Lyme disease is actually a bacteria, so therefore it is easily killed with antibiotics. The problem with this is the corkscrew shape of the spirochete or the Lyme disease itself, and that is really difficult because it can actually like screw itself into different tissues and get away from the bloodstream. So if you're not bitten immediately, if you're bitten immediately and take a test, it definitely will show up in a blood test. If you don't, however, because these spirochetes are embedded in your tissues, it's difficult to test for them in the blood because they're not in your bloodstream. They've now transferred away from your bloodstream and are now dug into your tissues. That's problem number one. So therefore, they do give you antibiotics, but it tends to be a longer course of antibiotics, meaning I am foreseen to be on antibiotics for 3 months to a year. Yeah. And I'm on 3 different types of antibiotics because I have all these different co-infections as well. So it is a pretty intense regime. It can cause I've had a lot of nausea, vomiting, just difficulty taking these pills every day. And I've had to take them 3 times a day. I've been taking an insane amount of pills, but I am game because I want to feel better. And I'm going to tell you, it's been 2.5 months now since I started the treatment, and I have never felt more energetic, more happy, more stable, and just more complete. I just feel like myself again. And I haven't felt like myself since I've been maybe 12. So this is just a crazy, crazy feeling to have. That being said, I'm happy to share more information if you guys are interested. Let me know if you'd like more videos like this talking about chronic Lyme versus acute Lyme or my personal journey. I'd be happy to share. If you guys know anybody that has Lyme or has had Lyme disease, just give them a hug from me because it's a really difficult thing to go through and let them know that they're strong. That being said, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please send me a DM, write me a comment. I'm happy to get back to you guys. I love hearing from you, especially on this topic. So, bye guys. See you next time.